Thank you for joining us on Florida Powerboat Club's YouTube channel. This is Stu Jones along with our producer Ryan McCoy. We're hanging out in the Pompano Beach studio and having fun because we are recapping the epic Key West Poker Run 2022 event. And this is now episode 5 with feature coverage of this 30th annual celebration. And we're calling this Powerboating in Paradise because we're in Key West, guys. So let's get started by thanking our sponsors. Our 2022 series sponsors include Blackwater Boats and their sister company, Deep Impact Custom Boats, and their authorized sales center, Plantation Boat Mart. Mystic Powerboats, Cigarette Racing Team, and their authorized sales center, Top Gun Yachts. Cigarette dealer, Chief Marine Group, Midnight Express Powerboats, Big Thunder Marine, Concept Boats, Performance Boat Center, Mercury Racing, and Florida Powerboat Club's longest running sponsor, Nortec High Performance Boats. And in addition to our series sponsors, these feature sponsors joined us for Key West. They are Legend Marine Group, Wozencraft Insurance, DefcoTruck.com, Superior Communications, McLaren of Charlotte, Outer Limits Powerboats, Hardin Marine, Double R Performance, Wilson Custom Marine, MTI, and Hollover Marine Center. So we're going to kick things off here. Saturday morning, we're up in the air flying in this Robinson R44. In fact, we're going to be flying all day today with 2 helicopters, 2 photo and video crews, and I'm on board today with Ryan, and we're just checking things out over here in Stock Island. And, you know, it is one big island, and people don't seem to understand just how much real estate there is over here. But what we really care the most about is the marinas where we can dock our boats. And looking right here as we cross over, what was formerly known as Stock Island Marina Village is now called Perry Marina, of course the home of the Perry Hotel, and we have a lot of our club members staying here. It's the biggest marina in Stock Island. And what you can't see from up here, but I'll remind everybody, all floating dock marina, and there's a nice restaurant there, so it is a great place to hang out, and we had a lot of our club members there. Now, the rest of Stock Island is very industrial, as you can see. There's a lot of warehousing. The good news is we've got some new locations for truck and trailer storage while we're here on the Poker Run. Now, over here at the end of the key, at the end of Peninsular Drive, now we're seeing there's 2 more marinas right here in the foreground. That is Ocean's Edge Resort, and obviously a very popular stopover also for Florida Powerboat Club. We've got a lot of people staying here in the hotel and docked here as well. A pretty big facility, and they continue to be one of our partners for this annual Key West event. And now over here at Stock Island Yacht Club, it's been managed under different names since they built it about 10 or 12 years ago. We might remember the YCOA when they built that, and we were here for the grand opening. But now the Stock Island Yacht Club is owned by the Spotswood family, who are obviously very prominent developers in the area, and they have big plans to redevelop this property in the next few years. And if you look closely, you'll see there's a lot of boats missing in this big basin, but that's because there's a lot of damage in the basin. It wasn't from Nicole, it was from a storm earlier, but they really do have plans to move most of the boats out of the marina, I'm told, because they are going to be building a condominium and I do believe a hotel here in the coming years. So big plans there, but they also own this piece of property across the street. Nonetheless, an exciting project, and we'll try to keep you guys posted as we learn more. Okay, enough of the scenic tour of Stock Island. Let's get out on the water as we catch up to Performance Boat Center, who are once again out demoing this Sensation 32 CCX. And obviously I didn't use the word demo like it was referred to earlier when they were going to rebuild an entire resort, but no. Demo, guys, is a boat ride. We could call it a sea trial, but Performance Boat Center are the best at this. They stay busy all weekend long, giving boat rides to the various boats that they have here at the Poker Run. This, of course, is a very popular model for Sensation, a 32 CCX. They've sold a ton of 34s, and they now have the 40 CCX also. And let us not forget that they are also an MTI dealer, and they have an MTI 42 here as well, which they had out on our last episode doing some sea trials with that. And, of course, we all know that when they're not involved in the poker runs, they're very focused on their racing program, which has been very successful for them. And it is just fantastic conditions for doing what we would like to do, and that's chase you guys down and get some beautiful photos and videos as we now catch up to Greg Cannell from Legend Marine Group all the way in Texas. and he has made a habit of attending a lot of our events and was very active in the 2022 season, coming down to the Miami Boat Show Poker Run in February, and then back again here for this fall event. And I just noticed that cute little outfit on the lady in the back, and I completely forgot what I was going to say about Greg and his group. But good bunch of folks that love boating, and they come to support a lot of our events. This is a Nortec 390 Sport. It's about as good as it gets, guys. Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. Love how the graphics on the boat match the engine cowlings. That's something that we see a lot of, and Nortec does it with style. I just visited the factory recently, and I went over to the paint shop where Paul Diogo and his crew were working on some jobs, and there must have been about 15 or 20 Mercury Racing engine cowlings on the floor. I don't know how they don't get them all mixed up, but of course, that's part of the custom appeal of buying a boat from Nortec. And I do believe that we can say without a doubt that this 390 Sport model is the most popular Nortec of all time. Started building this boat around 2012, I think. So here we are, fast forward 11 years later, and they've built close to 400 of them. So definitely a big shout out to Nortec High Performance Boats for their continued support of our club. They are our longest running sponsor. That goes back to the mid-90s, guys. And thanks to Greg and Jennifer for their continued support, coming all the way from Texas to join us. And it's another Nortec 390 Sport. This time it's Chad and Nicole Comesher all the way from Oklahoma, a long way from home. And this 390 Sport, of course, equipped with triple, not quad, Mercury Racing 450Rs. And obviously the boat seems to be running just fine with 3 motors. I think that a 3-motor setup would be ideal for myself, my situation. But remember, we're all different. Fast is a relative term for many of us, and this is still a very fast boat in my opinion. I love the simple graphics with the gray sides, the red boot stripe, and a little red trim in the cowlings. Beautiful boat. I think it's going to win an award. And we're catching up to Connor Toomey now in his 32-foot Doug Wright. Got a pair of Mercury Racing 300Rs. We've seen this boat a few times before. He's one of 7 Doug Wrights here on the run. And a nice run here with Chad Rudisil from Louisiana in this 48-foot MTI powered by Mercury Racing 1350s. What a beautiful looking boat. Had a hard time catching up to him. The colors of this boat are absolutely amazing. He's definitely a contender for best paint and graphics. And now that we're on the subject of MTI, first of all, I want to announce they had the top representation on the roster with 45 registered MTIs. And we got a chance to look at that brand new 440X. Here's Tom Stewart to tell us all about it.
Hi, this is Tom Stewart with MTI, and we're happy to be down here in Key West for the 2022 FORE Powerboat Club Key West Poker Run. We're having some good demo rides, and for us as a manufacturer coming down and doing a sponsored dock with the Florida Powerboat Club, it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. There's no more concentration of power boaters, and it really helps us out, and we're proud to be here. So we came down here to debut our new 440X. We do 3 different sizes of outboard cats from MTI. We do a 34, we do a 39, and also a 440. One of the biggest things that we thought was going to happen, we thought if we made a 44-foot boat, kept the 450s, then it may be a little lazy, and actually the total opposite happened. We always said when we did the 390 that it was like a 34 but better. It did everything but better, and we're continuing that trend with the 440. It's like a 39 but does everything better. It accelerates just as good as a 39, top speed's just as good as a 39, but the rough water capability will let you stay in the throttles. You don't have to back out, and it's just such a comfortable ride to keep the family and the wife happy. So we're pretty proud of it, and we're having a good showing down here, doing a lot of demo rides, and we think this is going to help us.
Well, obviously MTI just keeps knocking it out of the park with these new models, and I was very impressed to hear those kind of stats that Tom reported, that this boat performs as well as a 390X with the same power. Of course, we know that some bigger power is coming up for Mercury really soon. That'll be very interesting. And a big shout out to our good friend John Teague, who just recently joined MTI just before the poker run. And another manufacturer with very strong representation here on this poker run every year, and this is the SD Marine Group with their 41-foot Nighthawk Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. Of course, we stopped by their Isla Morada location on the way down. They were a fuel stop and they will continue to support the Florida Powerboat Club. They've been a sponsor with us for almost 2 years now. And in addition to the cigarette racing brand, which they represent, they have a number of other new boat builders that they've got, with many of them on display at their location at mile marker 85 on Highway US 1 in Islamorada. For those of you who are paying attention to the performance of this boat, this thing is trimmed out perfectly. I'm not sure who's driving it right now, but they are dialed in and getting it. And this is why we love center consoles. All that space, and you don't have to sacrifice performance one bit. And now a very special welcome to Tom and Mindy Borzarelli, who are from Palm Beach County, so not too far away, but it is their first event. We want to thank them for joining us. In their video bio, they said that the highlights were the championship offshore races, the raft up at Woman Key, and the Key West Poker Run Village at the Conch Republic. But they almost didn't make it because their marina was underwater, so they couldn't put the boat in the water, so they rented a car and drove down, and then they had their boat trailered down on Thursday so they could have it for the weekend. So that worked out well. They joined the Florida Powerboat Club so that they could attend events and hang out with like-minded people, so we hope you met some new friends. They said that the weather threw us for a loop, but they made a point of thanking me and the entire FPC staff for the very enjoyable weekend. Well, we thank you guys for the kind words, and we hope that we see Team OAR'N around on a future poker run real soon. And now we're catching up with Brad Exton from Missouri and Team FASS Cat. And I think this is a shakedown run for him. He's reporting this as a 2022 model 42 420 performance powerboat with Mercury Racing 450Rs. In his video bio, he said his favorite thing about powerboating, he says, it's my drug. The whole thing, from jumping waves and high speeds to scenery, the social life, and of course the camaraderie. He said that they trailered about 1,200 miles to take part in the Key West event, and he made this kind of a work bonus trip for some of his employees. He's got some of the FASS team along with him from his dealership, as well as his sales manager joining him for the poker run. And what did he do to adapt to the storm? He said he had to do barely anything. It hardly sprinkled, and they had a strong headwind, but God was good to us, and we made it safely. There you go. And it's another beautiful 43 midnight all the way from New Jersey. 5 Mercury Racing 450Rs. Looks like he's heading back from Woman Key at this point. I believe that the first time we saw this boat was earlier in the year. He attended the Miami Boat Show poker run and went to the Midnight Express display. They've got altogether 10 midnights registered for this Key West poker run. Most of them are 43s. I think we have 137 and one of the new 52s. A long way from home, all the way from Jersey, about 1,200 miles to be down here. So I want to thank him and his crew for making it on this kind of challenging event format with this Hurricane Nicole. And a little design feature I couldn't help notice was that sea deck on the T-top. And there's your money shot, guys. This is why we do it. Woman Key, and clearly a great location for us. I'm not sure Boca Grande could handle this anymore. I'm kind of glad that they banned us from Boca Grande because we just couldn't do it. I mean, there's probably 200, 300 boats here, and everyone's got a nice anchorage, so there's lots of room to move around. If you really want to get into the shallow water with a sandy bottom, you can move up close to the beach. But for these big guys like this 92 Viking, which is hosting the Nortec Raft Up, you got to be out here in deep water. This boat draws 7.5 feet. So they got to be in some deep water. And so they got themselves a nice little party going on right now. Another raft up here with a bunch of cigarettes. I believe this is Dave Peterson and the SD Marine Group rented or chartered this big boat. And they've got a bunch of their cigarettes tied up here. There's Wynn and Sarah in their Sunseeker 80 Predator Team 007, a boat that we've seen a lot on our runs. And there's Jimmy Lee on Team Christina, who obviously are registered for the run with 2 skaters, Don Doty and Jim Lee, running both skaters. We saw them in the last episode. They've always got a big party going on with the 72 Hatteras, and I've had a chance of riding with Jimmy on this boat a couple of times. I wish I could go with him on the Key West poker run, but I think I would get in a lot of trouble. And I'm not quite sure who chartered this big boat or if they own it, but they've got some nice MTIs tied up that are here with us on the event. And I think he wins the Big Daddy Award, the mothership of all. Whatever it is, I don't know. It is gorgeous, though. But you can see that everyone is just settled in here, and something for everybody, because if you really do have outboards and a shallow draft boat, I always urge everybody, get up close to that beach, but don't get on the beach because that's part of the sanctuary. You're not allowed to walk on the beach here at Woman Key. Man, this dude's putting on a show with this super cool foil board, something that is catching on. I know that Rob Rill in the club brought his along, but a beautiful sight here at Woman Key. Thanks to everybody for coming out to enjoy the day. And we're back now with another Nortec 390 and another quad 450 boat. This is Roger and Pam Anderson from Texas, but you wouldn't know that because they spend so much time in Florida now, and they've been such big supporters of the club. I want to backtrack now, and I want to say they probably did the Bahamas run with us in the summer. They did the Emerald Coast event. Here they are now on the Key West event in the fall. Fast forward to 2023, they did the Winter Poker Run, followed by the Miami Boat Show Poker Run. Then they did the Spring Key West event back in March. They skipped April, which was the Tampa event, but then they made it to the Orange Beach event. So a big A+ for attendance. I want to thank Roger and Pam, as well as their son Cliff and his wife Melissa, for supporting so many of these events and really making the very best out of their Florida powerboating lifestyle with the club. Oh, that was some big power from Jeb Bradshaw. And now we've got some big power on this Deep Impact 399. And I'm not talking about the motors, guys. I told you before, a couple episodes, that Ray Akey was going to be putting on a good show. And here they are, doing it up in HAMMERTIME on their way back from the Woman Key Raftup. And they are headed back to the Conch Republic Seafood Company sponsor dock. So I do believe the show is going to continue. And guys, let me remind you that this is why we're no longer on major television, especially Sun Sports, because, yeah, I don't think that this episode would make the cut. This is the one that they would just send back to me and say, Stu, we're not going to air this, so you can either cut this out. But thanks to YouTube, we are very welcome here on this network. And Brian Forehand seems to be enjoying the show, too, as he putt-putts along on the far side in his 50-foot outer limits, which is capable of speeds about 100 miles an hour faster. But he says, no, I'm just going to go 55 miles an hour right here. Just right along. Thanks to Ray Akey and Team HAMMERTIME for always putting on a great show. Thanks to Deep Impact for building such a cool boat. Okay, Brian, we're going to give you and Danny a little love now. And yes, indeed, a lot of outer limits on this event. We saw a lot of them in our last episode, but I don't think that this boat has really gotten the attention that it deserves. Built back in 2017 for the late co-owner of Outer Limits, Joe Scrow. We lost him on that event, sadly, and I would like to say that this is a brand that is legendary and still carries a strong name right from the beginning with its original founders, Mike Fiore. So it's nice to see Brian Forehand really carry the torch and get this boat back out on the water. And thanks to the Outer Limits team for coming out to support this event year after year. We're back in the Key West Poker Run Village. Going to spend a little time with our newest FPC girl, Gloria, who we introduced on a previous episode. She was a card girl at the Hullover Inlet along with Miss Sage. And I noticed a lot of great comments on our YouTube comments page about how you guys love the new FPC girl. So, well, this is for you guys. We brought Miss Gloria back for this fantastic photo shoot here at the sponsor dock, so please enjoy. Well, I think Gloria illustrates the fact that give the girl a camera and the magic begins, and she certainly made the magic happen here on the docks at Conch Republic. So thanks to Miss Gloria for joining us, and we've got plenty more beautiful FPC girls in our upcoming episodes. So let's spend a little time showing you guys around the Poker Run Village before it gets too crowded. Remember that the Key West Poker Run is presented by Cigarette Racing Team. Okay guys, time to sell some boats. Well, the Poker Run Village is obviously the hot spot here at the Conch Republic Seafood Company every year. So we like to wander around and show everybody, what they can expect if they've never been here before. But that was Deep Impact we just saw. This is Nortec's display with the new 400 Super Sport. Here's Sensation with a 40 CCX presented by Performance Boat Center. Of course, Cigarette Racing Team always put on a great display, and they're pushing that new apparel. Scott Price and the Hardin Marine Group here with their big 53-foot tractor trailer display. And Doug Wright Powerboats joined us for their first time here in the Poker Run Village. Had some toys to bring along to the show. A little quiet here in the village at the moment because a lot of the boats are still out at Woman Key, but it is a good place to hang out here. There's Bill and Evie Dahl. That's FPC royalty back from the early days. Longest running club member with that 39-foot Sutphin called Team Nasty. And we stepped up the game here dockside, bringing in Captain Joey to help Sean and his crew dockside to get all the boats in. They're actually on the dock now waiting for the barrage of sponsor boats coming in from Woman Key. We've got 3 or 4 of them on the dock now, but by the time happy hour rolls around, there will be about 25 maybe plus boats here all tied up at the Conch Republic. And looks like MTI already back at the dock, and this is when the boats start coming in, and we sometimes have to clear the docks and get the crowds away, but right now we're letting them kind of crowd around and one by one. And here comes Ray and Team HAMMERTIME, the boat we saw just earlier. Looks like everybody's kind of wound down just a little bit from partying all afternoon, but it also is time to have your lines and fenders ready. So this is a time to pay attention to our dock staff because this is going to be a very, very calculated jigsaw puzzle so that we can get everybody in place with no dents, dings, or scratches. So we ask everybody to have their lines and fenders ready when they pull in. So I want you guys out there, just imagine yourself being here, standing on the dock in the middle of November. It's a Saturday afternoon. You got a cold drink in your hand. You just got away from the cold north, and all of these boats and bikinis and big horsepower start rolling into the docks here at the Conch Republic Seafood Company. So think about that as you enjoy this segment. Well, by now, you know why we call it the magic hour in the video production side of the business, because when the sun gets low like this, remember that it's November, so around 4:35 p.m., that's when the light just becomes so brilliant, and that's when the boats look their best. And we are approaching that 30-minute mark, guys. That means we're going to wrap up this episode with feature coverage of the Key West Poker Run presented by Cigarette Racing Team as this beautiful Ocean Alexander rolls in and gets ready to dock at A&B Marina. Remember, guys, we love the power boats, but the yachts are pretty damn cool also. So let's just plan ahead for episode number 6. It's just around the corner. And these next 2 shows will be entirely from Key West as we feature more aerial coverage chasing down the boats, some big parties like the Saturday Night Poker Run Party, and of course that trip back up to Miami, we had a helicopter chase us down, some more aerial fun for that. So it's all right here, guys, on the Florida Powerboat Club's YouTube channel, and you don't want to miss another episode. So be sure to bang that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you'll get an update every time a new episode is released. Be sure to check out the website at flpowerboat.com for all of the details about upcoming poker run events in 2021, as well as membership information. You can follow us on Facebook at Florida Powerboat Club, and you can follow us on Twitter and on these Instagram pages. Thanks to all of our viewers for your wonderful comments on our page, and you guys know who you are, and I really do appreciate that. But if you have questions or comments you want to direct to me specifically, please use my personal email at stu@flpowerboat.com. I check that daily, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're going to sign off for now. This is Stu Jones along with our producer Ryan McCoy in the Pompano Beach studio. Have fun out there, guys. Be safe on the waterways. Wear your life jackets when the time is right, and always respect your fellow boaters. Bye for now.